Joe, roll call please.
Tatiana's absent. Dick?
Here.
John?
Here.
Abby, welcome back. All right. Here and then President.
Proof of notice,
That's listed in the agenda.
approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Joe, second by Jim. Any questions on the agenda? Joe?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Motion carried 6-0-1. Citizens' comments. First, I'd like to welcome Norm back, and great to see you back.
It's nice being seen, believe me.
So you wanted to,
Yeah, I just want to update everybody, just let you know, and for you guys who don't know, my last attendance at a board meeting was May 6th. And in January, I went, my wife goaded me into having a colonoscopy, and I did begrudgingly, and thank God I did go. They found a cancer in me. And so I went through all sorts of hell, believe me. This 2019 has been a year I certainly would like to forget. And, you know, the doctors all told me, we're going to take this, blah, 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 do this. You know, like a walk down memory lane or something, but there's so many sidetracks. I mean, so many things went wrong. And, but earlier, what, in October, Jeannie, was it, that I had that CT scan, or November?
Yes.
I forget. Dementia setting in on me. I had a CT scan, and the doctor told me to come in on a Monday. We're gonna have to do a CT scan. We're gonna find out the progress of the cancer and all that. So I went in, and he said that I'll come back on Tuesday. We'll give you the results. And I said, well, won't you have a telephone? You call me. You know, I don't have to drive up to Fond Like to tell me good or bad. And I already made the decision. If it's bad news, all bets are off. I stop it. I'm not going to go through all this crap again for the same results. I'm going to talk to my pastor, talk to Jeannie, and the rest of my family. And I decided the only thing medically I want to do would be hospice if it comes to that. Well, he come in and he come through the door that I'm at Tuesday, and I'm madder than heck because I didn't drive up there. And I said, all right, doc, no BS. And I didn't say BS, I used the words. And I said, what's the verdict? Good or bad? I said, I take it either way, because I already made up my plans. He says, no cancer. Okay. Remission? He says, no, you're cancer free. And I thought, well, with cancer, you either remission or cancer free, but on different cancers, there is only remission.
Yeah.
And mine was, it's an aggressive kind. But he says, it can come back aggressively and with a vengeance. And I said, well, that happens. Again, I just turned 74 years old. And I'm ready to go if it happens to be, but I'm not going to, and I put her through all this crap again.
But the great news is you're cancer free.
Yeah, that's supposedly, but, and I found that, okay, it was kind of good news, but anyway. And believe it or not, I lost 100 pounds in this. I was losing 8 to 10 pounds a week. And I couldn't figure out why. And I thought, well, Lord have mercy, the cancer's coming back. And I said, no, you're good. You're good. So right now, after Thanksgiving, I put on 50 pounds back of it on Thanksgiving dinner. I'm eating anything that ain't tied down. I mean, like I said before, liver and avocado and guacamole is looking good, and I wouldn't touch that stuff with a 10-foot pole. But anyway, I'm going to come back for the next meeting at the end of the month, 2 weeks tonight, and I'm going to decide, and I'm about 75-25, that I may tender my resignation, because I've got to go through some more crap, and I mean that figuratively, you know. I still got this ileostomy bag on like that. And I carried around a catheter out of me in 5.5 months. And I'll tell you what, you try to take a shower when you got a tube hanging out of you like that, and try to sleep at night. And I haven't been up, I can't climb stairs yet, so I haven't been up my upstairs, and she put all new lighting fixtures upstairs, and ceiling fans. I haven't seen what it looks like. I haven't been in my closet in 5.5 months, so I've got some issues yet, and health-wise, I'm not cured, but it can come back. But I just want to let you know, and two things, I do want to apologize for being off 5.5 months, you know, and I do want to personally thank you and Tatiana for guys stepping up to fill out the board, you know, and I owe it to the electorate of Mayville who elected me in this position 8 times. And I said I spent over about a third of my life on this board of ed and all that, but it's probably getting close to that time. And it isn't fair to the rest of these people here and people who elected me, the administration, the teachers and all that, and especially the kids. They deserve 7 people, you know, and if I can't do it, begrudgingly, and with a heavy heart, I'm out of here, so. But I'll let you know, I'll give you my thing in 2 weeks for sure. All right, so give you, if I do decide to resign, you'll have time to find a, you know, a suitable replacement. It's gonna be tough. I'm hard to replace. But anyway, that's all.
I have some
Thank you.
paperwork to give out from
We welcome you back with
Yeah.
all the support that you need.
Thank you. You ate all my mints, I see, huh?
Well, I didn't need any.
Did you?
Oh, hey.
I'm saying,
That's yours,
I'm
one
rolling
over
my own tonight.
Okay, next, approval of minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Jen. Second by,
Dick, your name's gotta be on there. I mean, Nubby, your name's gotta be on there somewhere.
okay, I'll second it. I'll assume they forget then.
any questions on the minutes? Jenny?
Aye.
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 Abstain.
Motion carried, 5-0-2. Okay, let's move down. Let's go down to Becky with Club Inventions.
So, Club Invention has been something that's been happening at Parkview probably for the last 6 years, if not more. But the board provided a grant to us back in the spring that allowed us to expand Club Invention to both Parkview and to the middle school now. So we wanted to report out. So I have Roxanne Walker here. Roxanne has been teaching our Club Invention for the last 3 years.
I think this is the start of my 4th, but I can't
Okay,
remember.
yeah, I can't either.
The years have all blurred.
She's been a solid piece to this program. So I have Roxanne here tonight, plus 2 of the learners who participated this fall. So if we could have Samara Herzog come on up, and Alex Richter.
And I'm going to let them
These
go
two-
first, because they're really exciting.
They are 4th graders. Alex has participated in Club Invention both at Parkview and now at the middle school. And Samara, I don't know if you participated in any Club Inventions prior to coming to Mayville. So this was your first one then that you participated in.
Lucky me.
So I'm going to let you guys take over.
Who wants to go first? Let's see who's older. When's your birthday? They're not going to answer me. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'll be good. I'll be nice and I'll go first. First of all, I want to just say that I appreciate the opportunity to grow the Club Invention program. I think Becky asked me several years ago, and I was kind of a little on edge if I wanted to do it because I'm used to working with our older students. But I'm like, you know, time for a new opportunity. I'm going to grow myself. And I took on Club Invention, and I really enjoyed it. So when I think Scott and Becky both approached me to say, hey, we really want to grow this program. Would you be willing to bring it up to our middle school age students? And I was like, yes, absolutely. Because after talking with Alex Richter and his family, he was in it at Parkview and he really liked it, but we didn't have it for our older learners. So thank you for giving our older learners the opportunity to continue to grow and gain knowledge in the field of STEM. I don't know how to use the whole clicker thing. Oh, awesome. Cool.
Tell him when.
Okay. A little bit about our middle school program. It was for grades 3 through 5. The curriculum was SOS Endangered Species. We had 14 learners come. I was really excited because these are the learners that I've kind of grown with as an adult, so I get to see them again. They had a couple challenges. The first challenge that they had to do was they had to create something that would protect our animals from the extreme weathers that we've been having. It could either be hot or cold. The second one that they had to do was to design, I'm gonna call it a cooler for lack of better words right now, for like our camping areas, because there's a black bear problem that tends to get to the food. So they had to put their brains together and develop some kind of a device to store that food that was safe for humans as well as the animals. They also had to develop a way to protect our Indiana bat population. We as humans are encroaching upon their territory, and because of that, they're getting some of the diseases and bacteria, and that's kind of causing their population to diminish. And the last one was they had to develop some kind of a plan to safely get our animals across the highways, because there's a lot of, I'm going to say for in Wisconsin, deer that like to travel across the highways, and a lot of animals getting killed because of that. Endangered species, I can one say about Club Invention and our learners here in Mayville, they are so into it that yet have I ever been able to actually complete a curriculum. I probably could take this curriculum and stretch it into like 3 months if we needed to, because they're constantly working and coming up with lots of questions and lots of ideas. And this year we tried to incorporate the engineering design process. That was a goal of mine. I'm still learning that process because by experience I have a lot of English experience, but science is not my major experience, so that's what I'm incorporating this year into our program to hopefully help feed into our STEM programs. The next slides are just kind of pictures of the learners actively engaging. The first challenge they had to do was to build the shelter. The ideas that these kids came up with, it would be really interesting to give them the stronger materials to say, here you go, and really be able to test them out, because they were pretty awesome. This one is, again, protecting the black bear. These pictures were mainly because they were during the share process. The third one was the Indiana bat. A lot of them really, the materials that they wanted to use, I felt bad that I didn't have all of these great materials that they needed to build the real thing. So that would be the next step, I think, to be able to give them those.
Are the Indiana bats, is that actually the bat population that's in right now down the Nita mines that's protected by UW-Madison?
You know what, I will be 100% honest, I'm not sure.
Because
That's what they are.
There's a major, their population's definitely dwindling.
And I think when I started doing some research, I think it's not just the Indiana bat, it's the whole species of bat are kind of suffering right now. And this was the last one that we got to experience this time, was to get the animals safely across the road. And again, this one, their challenge with this one was, okay, I'm the buyer. You guys are gonna have to try and convince me to build your ideas. And let me tell you, we've got a lot of creative kids. The next one that we just finished, like 2 weeks ago, was our elementary students, and that was Passage to Planet Rock, which was all about space. Myself personally, I realized that a lot of first and second graders didn't know a lot about space. So I had to spend more time front loading them on how space works and giving them some of that background knowledge that they needed. This program had 18 learners. Again, their first challenge was they had to create a ship to get from planet Earth to planet Rog, which was in a totally different galaxy. Then they got to experience life on planet Rog by building different tools to mine and see what kind of soils they have. They got to meet some of the life on planet Rog, and that's pretty much what we did. The first one was traveling to planet Rog. This group, I must say, was very creative. In the past, when I've taught this specific curriculum, a lot of kids just took a bunch of straws and they kind of taped them together and said, here's my rocket, this is how we're gonna do it. Where this group used a lot more different materials and had a lot more, I'm gonna say bigger models and much more 3D. So I was pretty proud of them.
These are K2 students?
Yes, these are the K2.
And I noticed that they're.
Or I shouldn't say K2, sorry, it's 1, 2.
Okay, and they're up at the.
This year, I requested it for my own, just because it's easier, and we actually have a STEM room. Becky so graciously let me stay and use our STEM room, so the kids did travel from Parkview to the middle school to use our STEM classroom. The second one, this one was really interesting. It was a challenge for the kids, not necessarily to build anything, but just getting used to wearing like the bulky gloves and handling a scissors and using tongs and picking up tiny little things. And it was interesting to see how many things rolled all over the floor, and you know, and myself as an adult, they're coming up to me and saying, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm just like, just keep trying. You know, if you need to manipulate your hands, how are you going to move your hands? And eventually some of them were able to get it, so I was like, way to go. The third one, they had to build a place to stay. So basically, I explained Habitat to them as a place to live. Like, they needed a place to live on Planet Rog because the spaceship wasn't big enough for them to do what they needed to do. And it was really interesting to see the mines, because a lot of them built like what you would consider your typical home here in Mayville. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You can move to the next one. The fourth one, they had to build some kind of a container to build, we talked about like different ways of gathering soil, gathering air samples and those different things, and they had to build different containers to bring them home safely to, back to Mayville so we can inspect them more. And it was really interesting too, a lot of them came up with creative ideas. You know, I was expecting them to have like a shoebox with little dividers in there, and they actually came up with some pretty neat ways. These aren't these two. This is just comments that I've had from a few parents and a few learners too. One of them was just, you know, the child goes home and they talk about it nonstop when they get home. And that even though we're going to offer the same curriculum in the spring, their daughter wants to come back and do it again. So that was exciting for me. One of our learners that I talked to was just like, I wish we had an opportunity to do all of it. We didn't have enough time. So if we could get it, you know, longer period of time, that would be awesome. Another one I talked to, you know, just loved the conversations that they had with their children when they came home. And another Parkview learner just said, I love to build. That's why I like to come. I love to build. That's my favorite part. So I'm just excited of where this program went. I'm looking forward to spring and seeing what new learners, maybe even the same ones, I'm not sure, will bring to the program. And hopefully it'll grow our STEM program, because even our younger learners will want to know more and we'll be able to provide more opportunities for them. So now I'm going to pass it off to you, Samara. It's good. If I can do it, honey, you can. I was nervous all the way here. I was shaking. So if you're nervous, it's okay. It's 100%. They don't. Well, I don't know. And if you know what, if you want to, I'll tell you a little secret. Just look right in here and start reading. Nobody's going to read you. Can't do that.
It was really fun because we had one of the best teachers for this kind of class.
I didn't pay her right then.
We learned that most animals are endangered because of people's doings. They are destroying habitats, leaving out bad food, and not watching for animals crossing on the highways. After we would learn about a problem, we would use our creativity by coming up with ideas on how to solve the problem. I really like this kind of class, and I hope we can have more like it.
Me too, and I can tell you this right now. This girl right here, the endangered species, I can tell that she's got a lot of background knowledge, because some of the stuff she was sharing at me, I was like, oh. So I think you're doing a good job of teaching her at home too. It's amazing, so.
We appreciate the curriculum, especially for this with the promoting the environmental awareness and stuff was something that my family really appreciates.
When the
very
first time I
much.
taught this, I hadn't really thought about Mayville, and this year doing it, I was like, it's right here. I mean, it's this community right here. So yeah, I definitely agree that this curriculum hits home, because the kids can relate to it, because they live it. Now it's your turn, Alex. And again, you can read right off the paper, it's okay.
I think Club Invention was great this year because we could do many challenges. We were told what the challenge was, got our materials, and if we had any questions, we could go ask Miss Walker. Then she would tell us independently the answers to the questions we had. If multiple people had asked her the same question, then she would tell us the answer out loud while we were working. I liked that we got to choose who we wanted to work with. I also liked that we got to present our inventions to our class. I thought that the theme this year was fun because I love animals. I thought it was unique because you got to see just how many animals are endangered. I liked that I was actually making prototypes of a real bridge to let the animals cross the road safely, a bat house, and an animal shelter made out of newspaper. These are only some of the things I liked about Club Invention this year at middle school.
Yes, you can sit down. I'm gonna close it by, do you guys have any questions for me?
What grades were doing this at the middle school?
3 through 5.
Okay.
And hopefully it'd be really cool if there's, maybe one for our middle school, as these learners get older.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't been able to experience them growing, because when Alex was in it, I don't think, I wasn't the teacher back then, but I can really see a lot of these kids wanting it and seeing it grow into the older kids too, so.
Was this after school?
Yes,
How
yep.
much kind?
We changed it up a little bit this year. It was like a month span last year, 2 days a week, where this year I kind of said I would like to keep it more like short and like back to back. So this year was 8 days for 4 days a week for 2 weeks. So it was really nice. I don't know what the family said. I have to survey the families yet to see if they liked that better, but for me it was just easier because it was easier to say, do you remember when we did this last night? Rather than last week when we, so it was easier and I didn't have quite as much review to do, but, and it was 2 weeks for our middle school learners and then 2 weeks for our Parkview learners. And then, we're gonna also offer that same time frame for the spring. I think we said March.
Yep, so where we have traditionally done this one time for one 8-day session at Parkview, now we're offering it 4 different times.
After talking with some of the learners, they wanted it that way, just because if they're involved in a sport, they love Club Invention, and it's very hard for them to choose. I said, let's do a fall and a spring, and some of the kids that couldn't make it in the fall were like, I'm gonna come in the spring, and I'm like, okay, great!
So at this time, we are going to repeat these same 2 again in the spring, hoping to attract some additional learners who couldn't participate in the fall can participate in the spring. And I believe the way it's set up, we'll have the older kids go just before spring break, and I think the younger kids come
I think so,
after
yes.
spring break is done. And we'll be done by early April.
First of all, thanks so much for what you're doing, and to the young lady and youngster.
And to, I know,
to
to the
overcome your
families,
fears.
yes, they did
Yeah,
great.
I greatly appreciate you guys overcoming your fears and speaking. Just remember, I tie my shoes just like you. Okay, all right? But I appreciate you guys coming in and speaking.
Thank you for giving us time.
It's great to see the excitement in the students for additional, just learning, just going outside the box.
Well, and the passion of our learners towards this year, I was just like, wow. I mean, the engagement that I've had, I must say that this year, it's been, I mean, those kids are constantly engaged. Where in years past, they kind of had a little reminders to get back on task, where these group of kids were just like, I've got the passion for it, let me go.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Yeah, it's great. Good to hear.
Great to see the excitement and the young students. And the parents get involved too.
Right, and their excitement towards it too. For me as an adult, that was always nice too. And for me, ever changing, always growing as a teacher, and it's like, to hear some of that positive feedback means I'm doing something right, so that's good.
All right,
So,
thank you.
thank you.
Awesome job. Comment on that, so what Roxanne and Becky were referring to is the Board of Education on an annual basis, we